Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Nani Palkhivala Memorial Lecture 2013, the program organized by the Palkhivala Foundation. The Palkhivala Foundation was conceived in December 2002 after the demise of the legendary lawyer Nani Palkhivala. A few like-minded professionals in Chennai who were regular in attending his memorable budget speeches got together and decided to form a trust to perpetuate the memory of the late Nani Palkhivala. The main objective of the trust is to conduct public lectures on subjects covering various issues concerning the common man. Palkhivala had a great regard for the intelligentsia of Chennai and had mentioned this more than once in his budget speeches. The trust has been conducting these lectures since February 2003, when it was formally inaugurated by legal luminary Soli Swarajji. Those who have spoken under the banner of the foundation include Ram Jethmalani, Harish Salve, P. Sainath, Dr. Raghuram Rajan, Subramanian Swamy, N. Vittal, Professor Vaidyanathan, and more recently, Bishan Singh Bedi. The foundation also conducts essay competitions for students to encourage talent among the youth of the country. Today's Nani Palkhivala Memorial Lecture is to be delivered on the topic India and the World. The lecture is to be delivered by Shri Narendra Modi, Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat. As part of today's program, we will also be hearing two other eminent speakers, Sri Arun Shourie and Sri Cho Ramaswamy. Sri Shourie will be speaking about his new book, Self-Deception, India's China Policies. Our esteemed dignitaries and our chief guest, Sri Narendra Modi, will be arriving in the next few minutes, and the function will get underway within the next 10 minutes. To deliver the Nani Palkhivala Memorial Lecture 2013, please welcome the Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Sri Narendra Modi. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We will begin the function with the invocation. Please rise for the Tamil Thai Vazh. We now invite Mr. Arvind Datta, trustee of the Palkhivala Foundation, to deliver the welcome address.
Good evening, everybody. Shri Narendra Modi ji, Shri Cho Ramaswamy, Shri Arun Shourie, and my fellow trustee N.L. Raja. Let me first begin with a few sentences in Gujarati. પાલખીવાલા ફાઉન્ડેશનના સર્વ ટ્રસ્ટીઓ તરફથી આપ સહુને આ વર્ષના પાલખીવાલા મેમોરિયલ લેક્ચર માટે આવકારતા મને ખૂબ આનંદ થાય છે. અમારા ટ્રસ્ટમાં 10મો વાર્ષિકોત્સવ છે અને અમારા માટે ખાસ પ્રસન્નતાની વાતે છે કે શ્રીયુત નરેન્દ્ર મોદીજીએ આ વર્ષનું પ્રવચન આપવા સંમતિ આપે છે. Now I'll translate in English. On behalf of all the trustees of the Palkhivala Foundation, I take great pleasure in welcoming Sri Narendra Modi ji to the Palkhivala Memorial Lecture. This is our 10th anniversary of the trust, and it is a matter of special pride that Sri Narendra Modi ji has agreed to deliver the lecture. I shall now say a few words about our trust in English. Sri Nani Palkhivala passed away in December 2002, and a group of us started this Palkhivala Foundation as a charitable trust in 2003. Those of you who are young students may remember that Sri Palkhivala almost single-handedly saved Indian democracy by challenging several amendments that would have certainly destroyed our constitution. Indeed, one would not be able to arrange such lectures if some of the amendments made at that time had been implemented. And ladies and gentlemen, it is somewhat poignant that perhaps the last lecture, budget lecture which Mr. Palkhivala gave in Chennai was in this very auditorium. It is also coincidental that Sri Cho Ramaswamy was a close personal friend, and he had presided over Sri Palkhivala's budget lectures. Sir, the Palkhivala Foundation conducts memorial lectures on important topics at least twice a year. Over the last 10 years, we have conducted 30 lectures on various topics that have covered economics, external affairs, law, medicine, and sports. To name a few, we have had lectures by Chief Justice Venkatachalaya, the former Chief Justice of India, Dr. Raghuram Rajan, the present RBI Governor, Sri Arun Shourie himself, and Lord Peter Goldsmith, the former Attorney General of the United Kingdom. At the height of the recent match-fixing controversy, we had a wonderful lecture by Bishan Singh Bedi. Apart from lectures, we have set up the Palkhivala Center for Research on Constitutional Law in association with the Madras University. This conducts programs for doctoral and postdoctoral students. We've also set up the Nani Palkhivala Arbitration Center, which conducts arbitrations, both domestic and international. Apart from this, each year, we conduct an annual essay competition in memory of Sri Nani Palkhivala. This is organized by the National Law School of India University and is today the most popular essay competition amongst all law colleges. Now, the question as to why this topic was chosen for this year's memorial lecture, which is our 10th anniversary. Our public debate has substantially centered on domestic, economic, and political issues. On April 15th, Chinese troops entered 19 kilometers into the strategic Daulat Beg Oldie area. As trustees, we felt that it was necessary to have a serious debate, not only on India's relations with her neighbors, but also with the world at large. We are therefore deeply grateful to Sri Narendra Modi ji for having agreed to deliver today's lecture, India and the World. We are also grateful to Arun Shourie for addressing us on India's China policy, which is the subject matter of his new outstanding book. And our very special thanks to Sri Cho Ramaswamy for being present here despite his indifferent health. Ladies and gentlemen, when we started this foundation in 2003, there was great hope that the 21st century would see the rise of India and China as the two emerging giants of the 21st century. Unfortunately, in the last decade, we have not been able to achieve our goals. We have all the ingredients that constitute a recipe for success, but somewhere, somehow, we have faltered in the execution. All of us sincerely hope that when we meet again in 2023 for our 20th anniversary memorial lecture, India would have become an economic giant and hold her head high and hold her head high amongst all the nations in the world. Thank you and Jai Hind.
It is now time to welcome our esteemed guests by presenting them bouquets and mementos. May I now request Mr. Arvind Dattar, trustee of the Palkhivala Foundation, to present a bouquet of welcome and a memento to our chief guest, the Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shri Narendra Modi. May I now request Dr. Durga Lakshmi, Registrar of the Nani Palkhivala Arbitration Center, to present a bouquet and a memento to Shri Arun Shourie. And may I now request Mr. N.L. Raja, Trustee of the Palkhivala Foundation, to present a bouquet and a memento to Shri Cho Ramaswamy. Our next speaker is an eminent editor, playwright, lawyer, actor, and a former member of the Rajya Sabha. In a career spanning over half a century, he has left an indelible imprint as a man never afraid to speak his mind and as one whose views have been respected by the ruling class and the public alike. Ladies and gentlemen, to present his address, please welcome Shri Cho Ramaswamy.
Good evening, friends, Mr. Narendra Modi, Arun Shourie, and all other friends. Actually, when I was invited, I was promised that I will not be asked to speak. The Palkhivala Foundation has not kept its word. And in the invitation I saw, special address, Cho. I don't have any special address now, but I am certain to have a special address a few months later. It will be Cho, care of Narendra Modi. Honorable Prime Minister of India. Seven Racecourse Road, New Delhi. So that is my special address, and with that I should shut down, having delivered to you my special address. Arun Shourie has been a great friend of mine ever since his Indian Express days and even previously, I think. And he has even participated in some of our Tughlaq annual functions. He has presented me a copy of his book earlier, with the best regards, Arun Shourie. But the last line of the book says, it is not applicable to me, because he says, the Chinese leadership is so talented in everything that it handles, whereas the Indian leadership is not so. This gap must be bridged, and everyone should be aware of it, as if his hair are on fire. So obviously it is not meant for me. But one thing, I can claim to be the youngest person here on the platform, because nobody can show a single grey hair on me. Shri Narendra Modi is God sent to us now at this juncture. When we are wondering how we are going to come out of all the, I have been asked not to speak politics. I am not speaking politics. I am speaking about deliverance. We have to come out of all this. Almost tragedies which we are facing today in any front, not only in foreign affairs. I have been reading Arun Shourie's book. It shows how naive our leaders could be. It is shocking. And that is continuing till today. Even the photograph chosen for Arun Shori's book, the wrapper, that shows how overawed we are by foreign leaders. There in that book, I don't know how many of you have seen it, Manmohan Singh is shown walking like this, and then when he reaches the Prime Minister, Arun Shori refers to that picture 2 or 3 times in the text itself, because it is an agonizing sight. All right, I can understand it if he does it to Sonia Gandhi. That I know. I am not speaking politics. I am speaking about our culture. And Arun Shori is one of the finest journalists India has ever produced. And he can make even complicated concepts understandable to a man of ordinary intelligence. I am standing witness to it. Narendra Modi ji had been very kind to participate in 2 annual meetings of the Tughlaq magazine. He has been very kind to me whenever we meet. And see, we know of chief ministers, but whenever something is written in Tughlaq about his rule and all that about Gujarat in general, he never fails to ring me up and say thank you. How many chief ministers in India would be today prepared for that? In fact, it is not in his language. It is in Tamil. Somebody translates it to him, and then he thanks the editor of the journal for that. That is the kind of person whom we are all expecting to guide us through several more years to come. Now that he has been nominated as the Prime Ministerial candidate of the Bharatiya Janata Party, he is going to be the issue. This election, he is the issue. All other issues are going to the background. He will be the issue, and he will win not only his election, not only the government, but laurels for India in the future. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, sir. Shri Arun Shori has recently brought out a book, Self-Deception, India's China Policies. And this book deals with the challenge China presents and what India has to do to meet this challenge. May we now request our chief guest, the Honorable Chief Minister of Gujarat, Shri Narendra Modi, to present a copy of the book to Shri Cho Ramaswamy. Our next speaker, the first copy being presented. Our next speaker is an eminent journalist, author, and former Union Minister, a crusader for press freedom, an indefatigable anti-corruption campaigner, a former editor of some of India's leading newspapers, an economist of repute, an author of 26 thought-provoking and highly acclaimed books, and a man who has never been afraid to take on the establishment. He has won a place in the hearts of millions of Indians as a role model and a beacon of hope for the media profession. Ladies and gentlemen, to speak about his new book, Self-Deception, India's China Policies, please welcome the most respected Shri Arun Shori.
Mr. Narendra Modi, Mr. Arvind Dattar, my dear friend Cho Ramaswamy, Mr. Raja, and dear friends. Sir, I think Mr. Arvind Dattar and Raja will permit me to say that this is the largest attendance for the Palkhivala Memorial Lecture. And certainly there has never been a book function which has so many persons. So this is Narendra Modi's adult education program. And I do not know what his presence is going to do to the sales of the book, but I know that it is going to increase my market cap. Sir, the book is quite critical. It starts from the cover itself. Therefore, I have to say something very important. And Narendra Bhai will permit me to say this. Please, the fact that he has been gracious enough to come does not mean at all, and the media should not take it to mean that he endorses anything in the book or anything that I am going to say. Because you see, he is in such a position today, as Cho just told us, shifting his residence, that every word he says is now, scrutinized. So if he uses the word today, soft power, in the evening discussions, and every embassy will say, did he put emphasis on soft or on power or on both? The nation wants to know. Sir, therefore, he has to be very careful about what he says, because everybody is paying attention to every word he says. But Cho and I are in the happy position that we can say anything because nobody pays attention. Sir, the next year, 2014, is going to be a decisive year for India, and the year in which we are going to be so preoccupied with ourselves is also going to be a year of great vulnerability for India. Americans will be withdrawing, actually in defeat, from Afghanistan. To make sure that their defeat is not a rout, they have convinced themselves that they need Pakistan. Therefore, Pakistan will have greater freedom to begin even greater activity in India. And actually speaking, they have no other way of dealing with the monster which they have created except to deflect it back into India. And nobody, and certainly not the Americans or others, will be able to put pressure there. And those who follow these things, Narendra Bhai, closely, as on atomic power, they can tell you in private that already the pressures are increasing, because Pakistan's only interest is, you want to show your goodwill, first do something about India. So it is that kind of a situation that we are going to face. That does not mean that there is gloom and doom. There are great opportunities also. After all, every other country which has gone into Afghanistan has got bogged down. It is quite likely that Pakistan will find itself in the same position. The coalition today, which is against the Taliban in Afghanistan, is much broader than it was on the earlier round. And similarly, the Taliban itself is not just the instrument that it was in the past. They have a real design. They have, last time when they were in office, they were a Pakistan-supported government, but they refused to accept the Durand Line. The 100-year period of Durand Line had gone. So they said, no, we do not accept this border of Afghanistan with Pakistan. Actually, our border goes up to the Indus. So Pakistan will be in great difficulties. There are opportunities for us, but we have to stand up to take care of the opportunities. That is the problem, that we are not in this, and we must, and Narendra Modi has a phrase, Nayi soch, nayi ummeed. A new way of thinking and new hope. But actually the new way of thinking is the basis for the new hope. Because hope is not policy. We keep crying, sir, as you know, oh, Chinese are going to divert the Brahmaputra waters to North China. They are going to do it. They have engineering books on that. But we should also think that Pakistan's entire cotton crop depends on the Kabul River's water coming into the Indus at Attock. So why should you not encourage Afghanistan to store the water in Afghanistan? And then see what happens to the biggest export of Pakistan, which is cotton? So you have to think new in this way. The immediate problem is Pakistan, but it is a manageable problem. They are single-minded, they have a very professional organization in the ISI, but they have great problems, and therefore the amount of harm that they can do to India, sir, is limited. But China is a much bigger problem, and unfortunately, we have allowed the gap between China and India to grow dangerously wide. Narendra Bhai will remember that just in 1980, 30 years ago, our per capita income was higher than that of China. Today, theirs is 4 times higher. And economic power is being translated into military might and into diplomatic influence. So that is the challenge we have to meet. And as Cho was saying, that the summary of the book is on the cover when Dr. Manmohan Singh goes and says, I hope that my cover will dissuade him from doing it again. Now, sir, he's there again. But there is another summary of the book, and that is the solution. It is the heading of the first chapter and the heading of the last chapter. These are 2 sentences from the Granth Sahib. The first chapter is, Bal chhutkyo, bandhan pade, kachu na hot upay. When strength wanes, shackles tighten, nothing works. And the second stanza begins, and that's the heading of the last chapter, Bal hove. When strength is there, bandhan kate, the shackles snap, sab kuch hot upay. Whatever you do will be a stratagem. So, बल छुटक्यो आज की तारीख बल होवे जब नरेंद्र मोदी आवे. Sir, China has, I will not take much time because all of you are here to listen to Mr. Narendra Modi, and I want you to set the stage and warm you up. China has a clear view of itself, that it will be a world power. It has benchmarked itself against the United States. And it is getting there. It has a clear view about India, that this is a potential nuisance which must be kept busy within South Asia. And therefore, as one of their maxims is, murder with a borrowed knife, not your own knife. Then people will go after that. So they will arm and they will motivate Pakistan, which is naturally in this regard. And third, they have, sir, there's a book of 1902 by a Chinese writer, which says that the Indians are the only people in the world who do not mind losing territory. You see, this is a terrible perception. So they have a clear strategy: claim, repeat the claim, go on repeating the claim, grab. Let time pass and they will get used to it. That has succeeded in Aksai Chin, and if we do not buckle up now, it will succeed again in Tawang or some other place. Just tomorrow or day after, you will see that another agreement has been signed between China and India. But an agreement is valid only to the extent to which the other side knows that if it violates it, you are in a position to defend your rights. So we have to convince them on this regard. For that, we have to aim for comprehensive national strength. There is no reason to feel defeatist. there is a strong reaction against China. In 2008, till 2008, they were following the advice of Deng Xiaoping, which was hide your capabilities, bide your time. At that very time, a Chinese general had put in a caveat. That was, hide your capabilities, bide your time, nurse your vengeance. But in 2008, with the collapse of the financial system in the West, they felt their time has come. So on Spratly Islands, on Paracel Islands of Vietnam, in the Senkaku Islands near Japan, Indian border, in every place they started being aggressive. And there is today a great reaction against that overt aggressiveness. Even a retired, happily retired nation like Japan has woken up. Every Southeast Asian country is talking to every other country. But we have to buck up to take advantage of that opportunity and form alliances, even as we strengthen ourselves in this way. And I will not take up more of your time with just 1 point, 2 points I will make and end. In acquiring, we have to acquire strength all along the line. You can't say, I will have atomic weapons, but they can come through cyber warfare. So all along the line. But the other point is that you have to understand the adversary. Sir, in this book, I have quoted an example given by Mr. Shyam Saran, one of the wisest people in these matters, and our former Foreign Secretary, today the head of the National Security Board, Advisory Board. He says he has seen the notings on the file, Narendra Bhai. Usme hai, Mr. R.K. Nehru, who was then the Secretary General of Foreign Affairs, he went to meet Zhou Enlai and said that, look here, sir, you see, many statements which China is making on Kashmir are as if you are supporting the Pakistani side. So Zhou Enlai said, is it the case that China has ever said that India does not have sovereignty over Jammu and Kashmir? He said no. So he comes and reports to Panditji, no, everything is fine. He says, we have never questioned India's sovereignty over Kashmir. Then in 1962, he meets him again, and China's statements are even more towards Pakistan. So he says, last time you told me this, that has China ever said that we do not recognize India's sovereignty over Kashmir? And now you're still making the same statements? He said, that's true. Did I ever say that China accepts the sovereignty of India over Kashmir? Similarly, Panditji fooled himself. Panditji showed the maps to Zhou Enlai. Oh, you see, you are showing Assam, Arunachal Pradesh, in those days it was Nifa, Ladakh as part of China. So Zhou Enlai said, no, no, these are old maps of the Kuomintang period, and we have not had time to rectify them. So 3 years later, he came again. Panditji again said that now still the maps are continuing. Last time you had said that these are old maps. He said, that's absolutely right. They are old maps. We have verified them. They are completely accurate. So Shyam Saran said that they will be surprised if you tell them that, you are deceiving us, because they regard deception as a part of statecraft. So we have to understand them. And the second and final point is, it is not one thing that has to be done. The main point is the system of governance has to be much better. And that's where the incidents that are described in the book, which Cho was saying, are shocking. You know, I'll tell you, sir, Narendra Bhai, this cannot happen ever in Gujarat. But it happened outside Gujarat. In this Daulat Beg oldie, where our Arvind Tatar said there was this incursion by the Chinese, it is the first stop after the Karakoram Pass. It's very strategically important. 2 roads were to be built. One summer road, but you can't use it in winter because it goes very high. One winter road, but you can't use it in summer because in winter it goes over a frozen lake in the summer there is the lake cannot be passed by trucks. So 2 roads were to be built. This construction started in 2009. In 2010, a civil engineer, because the Border Roads Organization is split between civilian and military engineers, started filing complaints. No, no, alignment should be like this. No, no, military people are trying to make money. So because of those complaints, the construction was stopped. That man was transferred out to Rajasthan. Then from Rajasthan, he had to be transferred out for inefficiency to Tripura. But the work could not be started again. Do you think the Chinese will not see that? When the Lieutenant General was appointed to head the organization, Border Roads Organization, he could not enter his office from the front door because the wives of the civilian engineers were sitting there on dharna that the control of the organization should be handed to our husbands. He had to be smuggled, a Lieutenant General of the Indian Army had to be smuggled from the back door into his own office. Shyam Saran was asked in 2008, I think, Chinese incursions, you go and survey the entire Himalayan border. I'll end with this example, and please keep it in mind. Survey the entire, where have we to build roads? 73 points were identified as to what is the condition of the road, what has to be done, etc. Arey, Daulat Bhai Goldie, arey, wo Shyam Saran ki report ka kya hua? What happened to the report of Shyam Saran? So where is the report? Ministry of Defense could not find a copy. Border Roads Organization could not find a copy. Shyam Saran was such a good officer, is such a good officer that he had not kept a copy. Now, is this the way to fight China? Narendra Bhai, when you come to Delhi, you will see that now we are sitting here for 25 minutes. In Parliament, you will never see them quiet like this for 25 minutes. So they say, no, no, no. So defense budget has not been discussed in Parliament ever. So they say, no, don't worry about Parliament. It is the standing committees. It is in standing committees it is done. So do you know, sir, who is the head of the Standing Committee of Defense of the Indian Parliament? The great geostrategic thinker, India's Henry Kissinger, Raj Babbar. And before him was that small god man called Satpal Maharaj. So we require governance, we require persons there. No position can be, organization can be made a gaushala, a pinjarapol, a shed for derelict cattle. No. We require persons in every place of commitment, of integrity, of competence, and with only one interest to serve, that is the national interest. In one word, we require Narendra Modi. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, it's now time for the Nani Palkhivala Memorial Lecture. Delivering the lecture today is a man who rose from humble beginnings to reach great heights. The longest serving Chief Minister of the state, Gujarat, his name has today become synonymous with good governance, a strong leader with a focus on development. He has become a symbol of hope for a better future, not just for the people of Gujarat, but for the entire country. Ladies and gentlemen, to deliver the Nani Palkhivala Memorial Lecture on India and the world, please welcome, put your hands together for Shri Narendra Modi.
Vanakkam. श्री अरुण शौरी जी, श्रीमान चो रामस्वामी जी, श्री अरविंद दातार जी। अरविंद जी हमारे गुजरात के दामाद है। श्री NL Raja, trustees of the Palkhivala Foundation, ladies and gentlemen. It is a great privilege to stand here to deliver the 11th Nani Palkhivala Memorial Lecture. It is an added pleasure to do so in the presence of great minds of India who are on the dais. Thanks the trustees for inviting me for this task. Although I am not a person of the field of which he was leading light. Friends, as you know, Nani Palkhivala was a leading lawyer and an expert on taxation and budgetary matters. But to my mind, his biggest contribution was in upholding the Indian Constitution. Sometimes I think that had it not been for the people like him, the basic structure of our Constitution would have been different by now. In addition, you may also recall that Nani Palkhivala was appointed India's ambassador to USA during Janata Party rule. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was the foreign minister of India. In that little period of about 2 years, Nani Palkhivala was able to generate special respect for India in the United States. Also, as a gifted economist, Palkhivala kept warning against the dangers of populism on the one hand and excessive bureaucratic control on the other hand. Whatever he did it with distinction. But when I focus my attention on him, I find his legacy even more impressive than his life. He had created a will, the spirit of charity and the spirit of humility which his will display is remarkable. It says, and I quote, "Burn what is left of me and scatter the ashes to the wind, to let the flowers grow." If you must bury something, let it be my faults and my prejudices against my fellow man. If you wish to remember me, do it with a kind deed or word to someone who needs you. If you do all I have asked, I will live forever, unquote. Friends, you will agree with me that this can come only from a heart and mind who had actually lived like this. Truly, he deserves and he will live forever in our memory. In short, he was known for his tall works, including his famous book, We the People. But many people not be knowing that his personal life and the message from that life are even larger. I pay my tribute to this great son of India on this occasion. Today, I have been asked to speak on the topic India and the world. Friends, at the outset, I feel that we are lucky to be born in this country. It is said in our scriptures that India is a land where even the gods want to take birth. And we have seen gods being born on this soil. Our scriptures have also shown us the way how we should relate with the rest of the world. The path is Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam. It's the guiding principle for us for dealing with the world. When we start treating the whole world as a family, the ways for dealing with each other become smoother and smoother. The manner and the message of India for the world is of peace and harmony. This has come from our culture and also from the leading lights like Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhiji gave importance to the moral dimension in the conduct of person as well as nations. That is why even India's freedom struggle was not just about gaining India's freedom from British rule, but Gandhiji made it a part of a wider global anti-colonial movement. All these principles will have to continue to shape India's foreign policy even today. These are our foundations which we cannot and should not dilute. In fact, this was the bond with which India and Africa fought together. This was the bond with which Gandhi and Khan Abdul Ghaffar Khan fought together. Also, we have had history when we were one with many neighboring countries up to today. It was a greater India. We might have heard the word Bruhad Bharat, Sanskritik Bharat. This was not only in a territorial sense, it was more so in the cultural and sentimental terms. There were binding forces which came from our roots. The policies during the British rule divided us internally as well as internationally. In fact, after independence, the first task should have been to collect all those threads and weave a harmonious neighborhood. But unfortunately, we lost 60 years. Friends, with this background, I would list out a few ideas on which our foreign relations should be shaped. Our deep-rooted beliefs and our culture should be the foundation. India can offer a lot to the world and can become the alchemist of the world. Today, the whole world is living under insecure and unstable conditions. This applies to the people, society, and also nations. This instability basically arises from relationships. It arises from the lack of our capacity to understand and accept the viewpoint of the other. Here also, our culture and the practices teach us restraint and balance. These are our healing powers, which we can use in healing the international relations. Normally, we used to talk about the soft power. And today, one more dimension I want to add, and that is our healing power. And that is our cultural strong base. Our geography, our location, and our neighborhood always remain important parameters. Neighbors do have some common thread which binds them. For example, for many Asian and East Asian countries, Buddha is a common thread with us. We should strengthen this bond. In addition, the neighbors must be useful and helpful to each other. Many neighbors look upon India as a big brother because of its size and resources. But their status casts upon us a lot of responsibility. We have failed to play that personalized role properly. We have also failed to play professional role with other neighbors where there were challenges. The book of Arun Shauriji, which is released today, bring out that failure very beautifully. The book explains how Chinese perceive India and how India is making a mockery of itself with its limited, timid approach. Self-deception is a right title of the book, and the cover page itself clearly reflects India's policy towards China. Just Arunji was talking to me that he met Dalai Lama, and when he saw this picture, and he laughed and he said, yes, this is the policy of India. How it allowed China to dominate India across international policy? Thus, we remain insensitive where we needed to be sensitive. And we remain weak where we needed to be strong. The same policy is unfortunately continuing even today. Friends, the other pillar of a foreign policy should be our strategic and security interests. I think for the first time, it was Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee who showed us the way in this regard. He worshipped both Shakti and Shanti. He conducted nuclear tests and declared the nation as a nuclear weapon power. After the first test, the world imposed sanction on India. मित्रों, जब ये 13 मई को न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट हुआ, तो सारे हमारे लोगों ने यही कहा, है तो साइंटिस्टों की करामत है, वैज्ञानिकों ने किया है, उसमें अटल जी को क्रेडिट नहीं जाती है, और सारे दुनिया ने सैंक्शन लगाए। कोई भी देश इतने सारे इकोनॉमिकल सैंक्शन के बाद डर जाता। 11th को फर्स्ट न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट के बाद कोई देश हिम्मत नहीं करता, लेकिन ये अटल बिहारी वाजपेयी की पॉलिटिकल विल थी कि दुनिया के सैंक्शन के बाद ऑन 13th अगेन न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट किया गया। और जितनी ताकत 11th के न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट में दुनिया को मैसेज देने की थी, उससे ज्यादा ताकत 13th के न्यूक्लियर टेस्ट के मैसेज में थी। It shows the political will. It shows the leadership quality. It shows the commitment to the country's security. Atalji did not bother about these sanctions. He did the second test within 2 days. In spite of the sanctions, and the Indian economy or the currency did not suffer. Today our rupee is in ICU. I do not know why Tamil people sent this person to Delhi. Friends, currency did not suffer. Inflation was under control. During Atalji's regime, price rise was not an issue at all. The price rise was under control. Though it was also a time of natural calamities like droughts and cyclone. We must remember those periods. At the same time, he also committed to the world for no first use of nuclear weapons. Here it shows the Shakti Upasak and Shanti Upasak. And this is not a small decision. Yes, I have, but no first use. And it requires a courage to take this type of such a bold decision. And he did it. He was able to immediately convince the countries like Japan. We know Japan is very, very sensitive as far as nuclear weapons are concerned. But it was Atalji who could convince even Japan. That shows political will. That was the success of diplomacy. Atalji could do this because within the country he had full confidence and support of the people. This is what is required when we talk of strategic interests. unless and until you don't get the support from the people, simply you are a Prime Minister, you cannot do anything. And when you can't find a support even from the party, and we are the sufferer. Today, the current dysfunction in Delhi has prevented even much needed military modernization and the upgradation of India's defense infrastructure. Just Arunji was giving an example of one simple road construction. As a result, the Indian armed forces are under great pressure on the northern and western frontiers. Thus, there is a need to revive the diplomatic legacy of Atalji. It means to build a strong India and to have a safe, confident, and productive engagement with the world. This is the tradition which is rooted in our civilization. It is reflected by Buddhist teachers, Hindu priests, Chola sailors, and Gujarati traders who connected India to the world in the past millennia. Here, terrorism deserves a special mention. No country has suffered more in recent times than India. It is central to our foreign policy as terrorism is driven from abroad. Atalji was able to make terrorism an issue in the international forums. Countries supporting terrorism were isolated for the first time. मित्रों, जब एनडीए रिजीम के समय की फॉरेन पॉलिसी की चर्चा करते हैं तब एक बात बहुत उभर करके सामने आती है। पिछले 50 साल में सभी इंटरनेशनल फोरम में पाकिस्तान कश्मीर के मुद्दे को सेंटर स्टेज लाने का हमेशा ही वो सफल रहता। पहली बार अटल जी ने इंटरनेशनल फोरम में टेररिज्म इश्यू को सेंटर स्टेज में लाया। एंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट रीजन, दोज हु बिलीव इन ए ह्यूमैनिटी, they came under one umbrella. Those who were supporting terrorism, those countries were isolated. The world was divided into two parts, anti-terrorists and pro-humanity. And this was the greatest achievement done by India. However, in the recent past, our response has been weak. Our approach should be more serious and robust. We need to unite the world against terrorism. Also, the modern warfare is going to be in the form of proxy wars. This includes cyber attacks. Now the wars will not be fought on the boundary, but within the boundary through such means. We have to prepare a strong wall against it. And please note that firewalls made by human life will not be enough. It does not matter for those people. Firewalls made by human minds are also not enough. Their minds are more ugly and more faster. What we need is the walls made up of human hearts against such crimes and attacks. And this is where India's strength lies. With its trust in humanity and talent in IT, India has the capacity to save the world. Friends, business and commerce is going to be very, very important. Now, the foreign policies are being shaped by commercial interests. Commercial dealing of individuals and companies are forcing the political leadership of the countries to adopt particular foreign policies. I believe a strong economy is the driver of an effective foreign policy. So, we will have to be strong in economic terms and commercial sense. We have to put our own house in order so that the world gets attracted to us. Our foreign trade should be favorable with more exports. Moreover, our products should be demonstrate quality. I believe a strong economy is the very foundation of an effective foreign policy and successful national security strategy. In the present era, global warming is a big challenge. The countries with good solar radiation can form a club like G8, G20 and OPEC and give solar energy movement a faster pace. We have to offer what we can offer to the world. This will give us the bargaining power at some point of time. मित्रों, एक बार G8 की समिट थी, प्रधानमंत्री जी G8 समिट में जाने वाले थे, तो I wrote a letter to him. और मैंने कहा, साहब ये सभी समिट में हम जा रहे हैं, हम भी तो कोई समिट बनाएं, एक क्लब हमारा भी क्यों ना हो. और मैंने कहा जहां मैक्सिमम सोलार रेडिएशंस है उन कंट्रीज को एक क्लब बनाना चाहिए और इंडिया ने उसको लीड करना चाहिए. और मैंने उनको नाम दिया था सन मूवमेंट, SUN. आई रिक्वेस्टेड हिम. और मैंने कहा कि वो एक कॉर्पस फंड बनाए और सोलार सेक्टर में नए रिसर्च करें, हम चीप सोलार एनर्जी की तरफ जाएं, और अगर उसमें सक्सेस हुए तो आज पेट्रोलियम बढ़ के दबाव में हम जी रहे हैं, इंपोर्ट के पीछे हमारा इतना धन जा रहा है, हम खुद एक ताकत बनकर के उभर सकते हैं. लेकिन आप जानते हैं क्या हुआ होगा. अब देश जान गया है, सबको पता है क्या होता है. The last point which I consider very important in today's scenario is what we can give to the world. मित्रों, एक बात माननी पड़ेगी, दुनिया को अगर लगता है कि हिंदुस्तान से हमारा कोई फायदा है, तभी तो दुनिया हमारी तरफ मुड़ती है. और ये दुनिया के संबंधों का बड़ा सीधा सीधा हिसाब है. Friends, we are living in a time when relationships are based on give and take. So we have to think how we can be useful to the world. How can we create an India where the world is forced to come to us? India to have prominence in the global affairs is to create institutions and intellectual property. This would be our soft power. In ancient time, we know that Nalanda, Takshashila, and Vallavi were such examples. Today, many countries are using India's medical facilities. Medical tourism to India must be promoted. Indian yoga, our Ayurveda, and our holistic healthcare are our old strength. Similarly, our old heritage is a strong power. Places like Varanasi can influence anyone if placed and projected properly. We'll all know that tourism is a huge economic activity in the present age. मित्र, दुनिया में माना जाता है कि करीब $3 ट्रिलियन का बिजनेस टूरिज्म का उसका आकलन हो रहा है। अगर $3 ट्रिलियन का इतना बड़ा ग्लोबल बिजनेस है, तो इतने बड़े इकोनॉमिकल एक्टिविटी में वेयर वी आर। और इसलिए मैं कहता हूं, जब इंडिया एंड वर्ल्ड की बात करते हैं तो टूरिज्म में भी दुनिया को जोड़ने की बहुत बड़ी ताकत होती है। मोरओवर, इट प्रमोट्स अंडरस्टैंडिंग among people and nations. And Mitro, this is my conviction that terrorism divides, tourism unites. Terrorism divides, but tourism unites. So we must promote the tourism. And as far as investment is concerned, with the minimum investment, you can get maximum job in the tourism sector. It's the most economical activity. In addition to our old heritage, even our present strength can be used strongly to increase our influence. With our youth power, we can service the whole world. Our IT professionals are known world over. Our sports can create networks for international dealings. Our doctors, teachers, and nurses are another force. They are all carriers of our soft power. We should engage them in a meaningful manner. Friends, we are a large country with almost 1/6 of the global population. The question which comes to my mind, how can we be in such a pitiable condition? You have to make efforts for that. And you will agree with me that Congress traditionally and the UPA recently have made efforts in that direction. When we are attacked, only statements are made. Our soldiers are beheaded. Only press notes are considered enough. मतलब कभी भी किसी को भी आश्चर्य होता है। चाइना घुस जाए, हम देखते हैं, हम देखेंगे। पाकिस्तान हमारे जवानों के सर काट लें, अब आगे होगा तो देखेंगे। फिर गोली मार करके मार दें तो फिर चुप हो जाते हैं। मित्रों, देश के किसी भी व्यक्ति को ये भरोसा नहीं हो रहा है कि आखिरकार ये देश किसके भरोसे चलेगा। There is a tension among the people of this country. इतना ही नहीं, there are so many issues with neighbors. You see, like the arrest of our fishermen. I don't understand. Such a huge country cannot solve the problem of the fishermen. All this is happening because there is no seriousness. Our foreign minister, and so what a shame. Our foreign minister read the speech of another country. क्या साहब बताइए, इतने बड़े इंटरनेशनल फोरम में हमारे देश का विदेश मंत्री दूसरे के ढूंढने की पड़ रहा है। 3-4 पेज पढ़ने के बाद पता चला कि मैं तो हिंदुस्तान का विदेश मंत्री हूं। मित्रों, किस को क्या कहे? Recently, the foreign minister visited China in a time of Chinese aggression. यानी हमारी सीमा पर चाइना घुस गया जब उसकी बड़ी टेंशन थी, चर्चा थी, उस समय और उसी इश्यू को लेकर के हमारे फॉरेन मिनिस्टर चाइना गए। चाइना जाके क्या बोले? And he made a statement that he likes Beijing so much that he wants to stay there. ये हिंदुस्तान के फॉरेन मिनिस्टर के पराक्रम है। चाइना आपके यहां घुस जा रहा है, आप बातचीत करने के लिए गए हैं और वहां कहते मुझे बीजिंग इतना अच्छा लगा, मैं वहीं रह जाऊं। काश ऐसे लोग वहीं रह जाए। इस देश को कोई जरूरत नहीं। क्या मेरे देश का विदेश मंत्री बीजिंग की आरती उतारेगा क्या? That is not a policy. It's a mockery. This has to be changed. इसके बदलना होगा. For that, the immediate thing which needs to be done is to take ourselves, our country, and our job seriously. यानी आपको आश्चर्य होगा, इतना करने से हाँ मिलकर इतना करने से भी हो जाएगा। सब कैजुअल चलता है. There is no seriousness at all. They don't think that these are the issues. Secondly, to show to the world that India is vast and India is powerful. India is not just a Delhi. Note down. India is not just a Delhi. Foreign policy has to be driven by people, not big politicians sitting in Delhi. A time has come when the cultural and economic strengths of different states have to be leveraged for building our global positioning. It was because of local initiatives that our predecessors developed relations with foreign countries. States have to be encouraged in partnering with foreign countries. In Gujarat, we have partnership with Japan and Canada for our vibrant Gujarat event and other economic activities. Similarly, it could be on cultural and language basis like Goa and Portugal, Pondicherry and France. मित्रों, मैं एक विषय ऐसा आपके सामने शेयर रहा हूं. इतना बड़ा देश है, हमारे विश्व के साथ संबंधों का संबंध क्या सिर्फ एक्सटर्नल अफेयर्स मिनिस्ट्री से होगा क्या? इज इट पॉसिबल? Is there any role of the states? Nowadays, we see that our states, by and large, the mainly functioning body. But we don't have any responsibility in our global relations. I have a few suggestions. अब जैसे मान लीजिए हम सोचिए कि हमारे करीब 30 राज्य हैं। एक राज्य को एक देश दिया जाए कि भाई तुम उसको संभालो, वो संभाल सकता है नहीं संभाल सकता है। अगर तमिलनाडु को कहा जाए टू टेक केयर ऑफ वन कंट्री इन द वर्ल्ड, कैन दे टेक केयर ऑफ नाउ? 30 वोट तो आपके पक्के हो गए। ग्लोबली 30 कंट्रीज के साथ आपका घनिष्ठ रिलेशन इन स्टेट के कारण बन सकता है। और फिर उस स्टेट के अंदर जिस देश के साथ उसको जोड़ा हो, उसके लैंग्वेज क्लासेस चलें, 500,000 टीचर्स उस लैंग्वेज को जानने वाले तैयार हो, तो हमारे 30 राज्यों में 30 देशों की लैंग्वेज जानने वाले अगर 500 टीचर्स तैयार होते हैं, तो आप कल्पना कीजिए दुनिया में हम कितनी बड़ी ताकत बनते हैं। बहुत ही, और ये कोई कठिन काम नहीं है मित्रों, कठिन काम नहीं है। सवाल है विजन, स्ट्रेटेजी एंड विल टू इंप्लीमेंट। आप कर सकते हैं। Why can't international conferences be held in states? सब कुछ दिल्ली में होता है। दुनिया का कोई भी व्यक्ति आया, दिल्ली में मिला, गया और 4 रास्ते देखे चला गया। मुझे बताइए, मानो कि कल ब्रिटिश के प्रधानमंत्री आते हैं और उनकी 2 दिन की मीटिंग चेन्नई में ही होती है। प्रधानमंत्री आएंगे, भारत सरकार आएगी और चेन्नई में जो भी इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर खड़ा करना होगा पहले से तैयार करो। इवन तमिलनाडु की ब्यूरोक्रेसी को भी एक्सपोजर मिलेगा, उनका कैपेसिटी बिल्डिंग होगा। कभी आप टूरिज्म को डेवलप करना चाहते हैं, आप बनारस के अंदर इंटरनेशनल कॉन्फ्रेंस गए, किसी देश के मेहमान आ गए कॉन्फ्रेंस, वहां की बनारस साफ सुथरा हो जाएगा, सफाई होगी, कुछ व्यवस्थाएं अच्छी हो जाएगी, वो फायदे में। और दुनिया में बनारस 1 हफ्ते भर चलेगा। कर सकते नहीं कर सकते? पाकिस्तान के भूतपूर्व राष्ट्रपति आए थे तो अटल जी ने मीटिंग आगरा में की थी। इंदिरा जी ने भुट्टो के साथ मीटिंग शिमला में की थी। मित्रों, ये घटनाएं हैं, उन घटनाओं से हम समझ सकते हैं कि हमारे देश का ब्रांडिंग भी हो सकता है, हमारे देश के स्टेट की ताकत भी बढ़ती है। और जब हमारे देश के प्रधानमंत्री कहीं जाए किसी देश में, तो हिंदुस्तान के जिस राज्य का उस देश के नाता हो, वहां से उनको ले जाए। मित्रों, इतना सारा काम हो सकता है, लेकिन सारी दिल्ली के अंदर 4 चैम्बर के अंदर सारी दुनिया को इकट्ठा करने की कोशिश हो रही है, नहीं होगा। अटल जी जब प्रधानमंत्री थे, मुझे एक बार रशिया ले गए थे, और रशिया में एक अस्ट्राखान करके स्टेट है, तो गुजरात का और अस्ट्राखान स्टेट का हमारा सिस्टर स्टेट के रूप में रिलेशनशिप है। मित्रों, हमारे पूर्वजों ने कैसे दुनिया के साथ अपना काम किया है, देखिए। सरकारों का रोल नहीं रहा है। आज भी आप एशियन कंट्रीज में जाइए, आपको तमिल भाषी लोग इतने मिलेंगे और उनका इतना बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन है। आज मलेशिया में जाइए, आपको तमिल पीपल का कंट्रीब्यूशन दिखेगा। आप मॉरिशस जाइए, बिहारी लोगों का कंट्रीब्यूशन दिखेगा। आप अफ्रीकन कंट्रीज में जाइए, गुजराती लोगों का कंट्रीब्यूशन दिखेगा। यानी पीपल टू पीपल भी दुनिया में कितना बड़ा नाता हम लोगों ने जोड़ा था। When I went to अस्ट्राखान, मैंने चाय मांगी। When I said tea, they could not understand. In Russia, when I said chai, oh, you want chai? Chai le aaya. I said door, they don't understand door. When I said dwar, oh yes, I understand dwar. मित्रों, watermelon, I said तरबूज, yes, we used to work. यानी इतना इन्फ्लुएंस मित्रों। वहां पर मैंने कुछ शॉप देखी, शॉप्स का नाम था ओखा। ओखा गुजरात का एक पोर्ट था, द्वारिका के पास है। मित्रों, आज भी अस्ट्राखान में रशिया का एक स्टेट, वहां अगर विश्वस्त चीज खरीदनी है, क्वालिटेटिवली अच्छी चीज खरीदनी है, तो औखा जिस दुकान पे लिखा है उस पर आज भी लोग भरोसा करते हैं। कहने का तात्पर्य यह है कि हमने दुनिया के साथ संबंध जोड़ने हैं, तो हमारे पूर्वजों ने जिस तरीके से इस दुनिया के साथ अपने नाते जोड़े थे, उसमें से क्लू लेकर के क्यों ना हमारे राज्यों की ताकत को, हमारे सामाजिक शक्ति को हम इन सारे वैश्विक संबंधों के साथ क्यों नहीं जोड़ सकते हैं, इस पर हमने चिंता करने की जरूरत है। और मैं मानता हूं हमारे राज्यों में वो ताकत है कि अगर उनको एक छोटा सा देश दे दी गया, वो पूरी तरह उनकी मेहमान नवाजी करेंगे, पूरी तरह संभालेंगे, और एक अपनेपन का भाव पैदा होगा। अगर दुनिया में 30 देश एक तरफा हमारी वकालत करने की ताकत बन जाए, मित्रों, दुनिया की किसकी ताकत है कोई हमें डरा सके? मित्रों, similarly, our people are then in almost all countries. Indians abroad have been a strength for our nation. They are our biggest ambassadors. We have to make use of them in this area more actively. At the same time, we have to take better care of them when they are in trouble. मित्रों, दुनिया के किसी भी देश में रहने वाला हिंदुस्तान का व्यक्ति, आज उसका पासपोर्ट का रंग कोई भी क्यों न हो, उसका पासपोर्ट का कलर भले बदल गया होगा, हमारा खून का कलर बदलना नहीं चाहिए। हमारा खून का रिश्ता नहीं बदला जा सकता। पासपोर्ट का कलर बदला जा सकता है मित्रों, उस पर स्टैंप किसी और देश का लग सकता है, लेकिन अगर वो ओरिजिनल इंडियन है तो हिंदुस्तान की जिम्मेवारी होती है कि उसके रक्षक के रूप में देश ने अपनी ताकत दिखानी चाहिए। एट द सेम टाइम, अगेन आई रिपीट, वी हैव टू टेक बेटर केयर ऑफ देम when they are in trouble, like the Tamil in Sri Lanka. Friends, I am an optimist. We have the strength of our character of not harming anyone. The magnetic power of India lies in its culture and traditions. Also, we are the biggest democracy, which is the flavor for the world today. Our human and natural resources are enough to influence the world if used properly. With this strength, I am sure India has to play and will play a major role in the world affairs. The present century is going to be the century of Asia. In that sense, with our brotherly policy, we would be able to contribute towards that. Also, with our traditional strength and modern initiatives, we will also be able to provide solutions to many global issues. And when I say, by and large, the whole globe has accepted that the next century is Asia's century. It is accepted. But it is our responsibility that next century must be India's century. And we will have to perform. Friends, let us to Let us together work for a bold India and a better world, a harmonious neighborhood and a happier world, a strong Asia and a safer world. My personal conviction is that India can play a major role, and we must take oath that 21st century must be India's century. Thank you very much. Thanks a lot.
Standing. Thank you, sir. May we now request Mr. N.L. Raja, trustee of the Palkhivala Foundation, to deliver the vote of thanks.
Friends, it's my happy task to present the vote of thanks. The vote of thanks is that part of the function when the audience becomes increasingly restless and impatient. However, since Aditi Devo Bhava, meaning the guest is God, is a very cornerstone of our culture, I request you to bear with me for a few minutes while I thank the guests and all those who have made this function possible today. On behalf of the Palkhivala Foundation, I express my heartfelt gratitude, Sri Modi ji, for being with us today. In ancient times, Greece had Demosthenes and Rome had Cicero. It is said that when Cicero spoke, the audience said, "What a great speech." But when Demosthenes spoke, they said, "Let us rise and march." You can never listen to a speech by Sri Modi ji and sit back and merely say, "What a great speech," because each of his speeches impels the audience to rise and march, and today we had an excellent example of his oratorial skills. He has delivered today not merely a great speech, but a historical one. We are thankful to you, sir, for your cooperation in making this function possible. Apno Hari Tarafti Antakaran Purvak Abad. It is said that a human being is his own greatest deceiver, since what he wishes to be true, he generally believes to be true. Not only the book released today, Self-Deception, India's China Policies, by Sri Arun Shauri, but many of his earlier books are designed to hold us by our shoulders and shake us out of our sense of self-complacency and self-deceit and make us take a hard look at facts. You understand the full meaning of the phrase, "The devil is in the detail," when you read his books, and his latest book is one more in the long line of his glorious works. We thank you, sir, for your presence today and participation at this function, and we do hope to see you more often at Chennai. Ancient India had wise commentators like Kautilya, and in modern times we have Sri Cho Ramasamy. His wit, ready repartees, thought-provoking analysis of current political affairs, his unchallenged and unchallengeable sense of patriotism make him truly a unique legend. The question and answer section of his reputed magazine Tuklat, I may assert, is the first section that any reader of Tuklat reads. I'll give you a sample to highlight why this is so. After Sri Sadasivam passed away, Bharat Ratna M.S. Subbulakshmi became almost a recluse and would hardly even step out of her house. It was at this time that the government of India presented her with a free train pass to travel all over the country. Sri Cho's comment was invited on this gesture of the central government. He answered in one witty sentence. He said, "Giving this free pass to Srimati M.S. Subbulakshmi at this stage in her life is like presenting a bottle of hair oil to me." This brand of self-deprecating humor is unique to Sri Choji. We need you to be with us for a long, long time, sir. and we collectively and earnestly implore you to look after your health. I cannot thank sufficiently the government of Tamil Nadu and its Chief Minister, Dr. Selvi Jayalalitha, for all the support extended to this event. The officers representing various sections of the police force have provided the necessary security for this event. It's been a great challenge and they have done a commendable job. I will be failing in my duty if I do not thank Mrs. Nirmala Prasad, Principal, MOP Vaishnav College. Nearly 20 of her young and college students and the young volunteers at this function have literally worked day and night to make this function a success, and I thank her from the bottom of the heart, as also each of these volunteers. I thank profusely the authorities of the Madras University, the staff of the university, Sri Prabhu of Accolade, who has handled the media, Sri Guru, who is a photographer, Mr. Prabhu, who has helped with the stage arrangements, Mr. Hari and Mrs. Anusha Hari, who have worked ceaselessly in the last few days to put in place every aspect of this event. Ranga Chemicals, I must thank for the PA system. My heartfelt thanks to Mr. Sumant C. Raman for his wonderful comparing. It was a tremendous effort, dedication, commitment of the staff of Nani Palkhivala Arbitration Center, a team led by Dr. Durga Lakshmi and staff members Jaya, Sri Sumati, Desingu and Tamil, whose efforts have made this function possible. Our heartfelt thanks to all of them. Last but not the least, I must thank the media who have turned up in full force. Of course, when Sri Modi ji is here, can the media be far behind? There is, lastly, one intangible entity that I have to thank for the success of this event, and that is the spirit of democracy. It is the spirit of democracy which is the single most vibrant, unifying factor in the nation of mind-boggling diversities. And it is this spirit of democracy that has made it possible for us to organize this event, for all of you to attend, for the media to carry it, and for society to discuss it. Without your presence today, this meeting would have been absolutely meaningless. Therefore, I thank you all from the bottom of my heart. Jai Hind.
Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the national anthem.